Hello and welcome back everyone to RimWorld Infinite Lives, where to the surprise of no one, this episode begins with a endless pile of bodies, weapons, and some beer and medicine as well. Yes, last episode's massive raids have quite the mess for us to clean up, unfortunately. And speaking of messes, we also have a mech cluster landing nearby the base that has a psychic droner as well. But that mech cluster would have to wait, of course, because we had pemmican to eat, bodies to haul, and a mess of other things to deal with before that. To add on to our massive mess that we already have, we have one colonist overdosing and another going into a murderous rage. Thankfully, though, it didn't take us very long to deal with both of those issues. We even made some time for some sweet recreation before departing to attack the mech cluster with the psychic droner. After departing the colony, it didn't take us very long to make it to the mech cluster with the psychic droner either, and it was very poorly guarded with one slugger turret. A few grenades later and it was gone. Back home, next to the massive hole in the kitchen, our colonists got into a fist fight. Not long after that, we had a handsome gentleman named Melvin calling from nearby. He said there was some kind of threat following him, but he wouldn't state as to what it was. We did allow him to join us though, and we took the risk on whatever that threat may be. And in my opinion, the risk was well worth it. We got a decent colonist, and all that happened was a toxic spewer appeared nearby. So, shortly after that happened, we geared everybody up to send them out to destroy it. Just after arriving, we noticed that there were only 3 scythers guarding the place, so we sent Lazarus in with his grenades to kinda, kamikaze the situation. We eventually defeated the scythers, and then we decided to strip off Lazarus's clothes and shoot him in the head before, of course, quickly reviving him so that he could go and destroy the toxic spewer. Lazarus, of course, made quick work of the toxic spewer, and then shortly after arriving home, we actually began work on a massive project inside the mountain for everyone to have some nice cozy rooms. To be honest with you, the project took a lot longer than I would have liked for it to, but that was alright because we also added a recreation room just outside the bedroom, that way everybody could play some poker and whatnot before bed. But in between all the poker games, there was a bit of drama. Our colonist Kabito ended up breaking up with his fiancée. At the time, I didn't know why, but just a little bit later, I noticed that then Lazarus had a new lover. Even though Lazarus was married to Ho, he was now having an affair with Kabito's ex-lover. Oh, Jesus Christ, this colony, man. Lazarus is kind of the main character of the series, though I guess it makes sense everyone would fall in love with him. But despite all the drama that was going on with the love lives of our colonists, we were now being raided by a group of Mechanoids who were dropping in right on our massive bug trap that we were building. Some of our colonists hid inside the bug trap while others attempted to flee back to the base, but the scythers were extremely quick and began to catch up with them as they were firing at the scythers and trying to flee. Thankfully, however, many of the scythers were caught in our bear traps, and the ones that were not caught in the bear traps got fired upon by almost all the colonists, and they ended up falling very quickly. And now comes the really fun part, that massive hive that's been inside the mountain of all the bugs. I sent Lazarus in with a sniper rifle to shoot them, and then try to bait them out into our massive bug trap. But Rat Knight, I hear you say, those traps won't kill all those bugs, there's so many bugs. Well, dear viewer, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually have another trick up my sleeve. As the endless horde of insectoids was coming through the massive trap, I have Lazarus begin throwing Molotov cocktails at the trap to attempt to light it on fire, so not only are they getting hit by the traps, but we are going to attempt to burn all of them to death or just extreme injury. Things were getting a little bit framey though. And, for the most part, this trap did work. We burned most of them, or at least injured them on the traps. But I won't lie, it didn't completely kill them, which I kind of didn't think that it would. So they began chasing Lazarus all the way back home to our base. Luckily, though, in anticipation of this very event, I laid out a lot of traps through a path the AI seems to like to take a lot. That way we could at least try and injure them more or kill quite a few more of them. But unfortunately, this would not be enough to stop them completely, so they ended up making it to the kill box section of our base where they were hitting bear traps and we were firing upon them. I had also put down two, I think, military grade turrets that were also firing upon them, and they were just coming at us non-stop. And after an endless amount of firing at these insectoids, finally they began making it to the area where most of our colonists were standing, so I tried to scatter them in two different sections, that way we could try and keep them safe. Of course, that plan completely failed though, and the bugs actually downed 2 people and just began ripping shit all to shreds throughout the base. It was crazy. Lazarus, of course, done what he does best and died, and then resurrected, then equipping a LMG rifle, only to be bombarded by a massive horde of bugs that just crowded around him and just started beating the ever-loving crap out of him out there in the rain. Unfortunately as well, on this dark, rainy, insectoid-filled night, we ended up losing Ho, and we also ended up losing our brand new colonist that we just got earlier in this video, Merlin. The bugs truly were vicious. But we didn't give a damn how vicious they were. We dug a long tunnel all the way to the massive hive that they were building inside the mountain, and we began to gear up our colonist. We were about to eradicate these bugs. With most of the insectoids either dead at the hands of traps, gunfire, or just regular fire, we were able to freely walk through the hive for the most part, except for a few stragglers that hadn't died already or came out with the entire group, and we went hive to hive, shooting and kicking and punching, until eventually we ended up destroying them. After we destroyed the last hive, of course Lazarus had to bleed to death in the cave and then be resurrected by me to come and fight another day. And fight another day he did. I began sending him back to the colony to try and start tending to everyone's needs and make sure that they didn't bleed out or die of infection or God knows whatever else that these bugs had in their mouths when they bit us. Speaking of an infection, Pickles ended up getting a minor infection in his torso. We would have to start tending to that to make sure that we do not lose another colonist to this filthy invasion of insectoids. And believe me when I say it truly was an invasion. We ended up losing 4 of some of the best colonists that we had. They were absolutely wonderful and truly beloved by everyone in the colony. But I am going to go ahead and call it an episode, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful day. I will see you guys later. Goodbye.